Luke Van Hemert, age 24, has been indicted on a second-degree murder charge for the killing of Marquise Todd, a senior on the William Penn University basketball team. Luke and his attorney argue he had no choice but to defend himself during a fight, and that will be the question for a jury. Was it? Might it have been self-defense?
March 1, 2018, Marquise Todd, D'Angelo Allen, and Michael Donaldson were all in Marquise's room, and they were playing video games. Well, Michael decided it was time to go get some snacks.
This car was like driving less than 10 miles per hour. So I proceeded to go around, and then they cut me off.
The car would not allow him to pass. What Michael didn't realize is that he made a slight contact with the other vehicle, so there was a minor fender bender.
One of the guys smacked my hood, and then I proceeded to back out.
Why did you back out?
Because I see two guys approaching my car, screaming at me, you know.
Elijah Marcus and Luke Van Hemert approached Michael's vehicle and started banging on the hood and yelling profanities at Michael.
Michael backs up and sits on K Avenue, trying to collect his thoughts.
I looked down the street to see if I saw anyone, and there was no cars in the street, so I thought I was in the clear. As I went down North 3rd, out of the right side, it's like somebody came out of the dark with a rock. They threw the rock through my windshield, and then I hit the brakes.
Luke Van Hemert hurled a large rock into the windshield of Michael Donaldson's car.
What do you think in moments of
In my head, I'm like, why would he do this?
Unknown individuals come in now are assaulting his car.
Michael went back to the dorm room, told Marquise Todd and D'Angelo Allen what occurred. They decided to go over to the home there on North 3rd and see if they could find out who was going to pay for the damage. They saw Stanley Van Hemert in the yard near the Jeep looking at it. Marquise Todd goes up to talk with Stanley Van Hemert.
When this car first pulled up to your house, did you think that there was going to be a confrontation?
The way they were acting, yes.
Stanley kind of retreats towards the house. Marquise continues to walk towards him, and then that's when Luke Van Hemert appears.
My dad got in the front door, and the guy got probably within 3 feet of him, and at that time he put his hands up to get ready to fight him.
What did you do then?
I'm scared for my dad's life and mine, so I tried tackling him.
I see the defendant, and he comes charging and yelling at Marquise. They start scuffling.
Luke testified that he then tried to get away, tried to use his body weight to get to the ground and maybe try to crawl away. He testified that that didn't work.
At that point, I retrieved my pocket knife from my pocket and swung it upwards a few times.
Luke stabbed Marquise Todd 3 times, once in the shoulder, once in his torso, and once in his chest.
Marquise passed out. Me and D'Angelo picked up Marquise, and we put him in the back seat.
They looked in the back seat, and that's when they realized that Marquise was stabbed because he was bleeding out so much onto the back seat.
Marquise Todd's friends drove to the Jiffy Mart where they encountered police who'd been called by Stanley Van Hemert. An ambulance soon arrived, but Marquise died that night from his stab wounds. Luke Van Hemert was interviewed by Oskaloosa police but revealed little about the fight and never admitted any role in Todd's death.
What happens if I find out one of the guys is shot or stabbed, or how do we think that happened?
One thing I can think of, one of them had a knife or something, we didn't see it.
Say we find an object like that. Do you think there's any way that you would have had your hands on it?
Nope.
Prosecutors attack Luke's credibility during their cross-examination. They emphasized how strikingly different his story was in court when compared to his first police interview.
There were big holes in Luke's story. It was clear from the onset he was withholding information.
Let's start back at the crash. You were angry?
Not angry, I was just nervous and scared and didn't know what to think.
As I understand it, you were saying what the F.
Correct.
The reason that the fender bender and initial damaging of Michael's window was important because it showed that the defendant had an intent to cause harm.
Did you use your right hand to stab him?
Yes, sir.
Luke stated that he was right-handed. He put the knife in his right hand. All of Mr. Todd's injuries were on his left side. I would have expected the damages to be on the right side of Mr. Todd's body versus the left.
I'm scared for my life, so I do this.
And you stabbed him all the way through his arm, all the way through his chest, and into his heart.
I don't know, sir. I wasn't looking at him.
The explanation that Mr. Van Hemert gave the court just was not consistent with those types of injuries.
Why not tell the police? Listen to all these horrible, scary things that this guy did.
Because they keep bringing it up and I get scared when I talk about it.
When a witness has made contradictory statements in the past,
Did you get pushed down, hit your head at all or anything?
Maybe a punch to the shoulder or something. That's about the only thing.
the jury needs to know, are they now telling the truth?
He's on top of me, I'm facing the ground, he's punching me in the face repeatedly.
Or is this yet another fabrication?
We, the jury, find the defendant, Luke Ryan Van Hemert, guilty of the crime of murder in the second degree. Signed, presiding juror.
At the end of the day, a Mahaska County jury saw it was not a self-defense case. It was simply a homicide.
I felt overwhelmingly that our Oskaloosa community supported the verdict that came down and said justice was served for Marquise Todd.